Hello and welcome to the Apex Perspective, a podcast made by the Apex Pack Openings crew. My name is Francisco, and today I am joined by Elpidio.
How's it going?
And Leo.
What's up?
And today we're going to be talking a little bit about soccer. Soccer is a big part of our lives, essentially. So we're going to be talking about today about some of our favorite teams, what we saw during this summer transfer window, and what we're going to be expecting during this upcoming season. So this is going to be a fascinating conversation for hopefully for you guys and hopefully for us as well too, as we learn as to see what we're looking out for. So I'm gonna pass it over to Leo to talk about who's your favorite teams, Leo.
Yeah, so I've got a handful of different teams for the different regions of where we are and that kind of thing. So here in the States, my favorite team is the Seattle Sounders. We're just a few hours away from Seattle, so they're a local team. And, we've been going to Sounders games now for, 10 years now, I think? I remember the first game I went to that was a Sounders experience was way back in 2013. They played a friendly against Chelsea. And we went back in the day when we were playing for a local team. We went with a few other guys from the soccer team, and we all went over there, carpooled, and watched that game. So that was a really cool experience.
That's right.
So Sounders are near and dear to my heart here in the States. Across the pond, we've got Manchester City.
Okay.
In England,
the club with no fans.
The club with no fans, but I'm one of them. So. I started watching them when they signed Sergio Aguero way back in 2012, I think 2011. I remember watching him at Atletico in La Liga, and I was super excited when they signed him, and I started watching ever since. So that first season when he got there, it was amazing, and they won the league for the first time in 33 years or something like that. Yeah. And I've been watching them ever since. So it's been quite the road watching that team from what it was to where they are now. Obviously has a lot to do with money. That's something we can dive a little more into.
Yeah.
And then true. The club that started it all.
Well, before you go, where were you the moment that Agüero scored that probably
most iconic?
One of the most iconic. I can't say most because I'm sure there's something better, but one of the most. You can probably say the most iconic for Prem, probably.
Yeah, it's arguably the one of the most.
I don't know. I don't want to say ever because I'm sure there's something out there. But where were you when that happened? Because I remember where I was. I was watching the game. United had just won, and they had to win, and I think City had to at least tie. So I remember being in my room watching TV, and you see Rooney. You see Ferguson looking at the Jumbotron, and then all of a sudden
just a quick correction, City had to win because they were equal on points. So if they didn't win, they would not.
Well, that's what I meant.
If they didn't
United clinched it with the tie.
Yes.
Right, that's what I meant. Because United would have clinched it with a tie, no?
No. They were on equal points. So they both won and they both finished with equal points.
No, but I mean before City scored. They were tied.
Yes.
Right. So United was...
Yes.
That's what
I get you now.
Yeah, see?
Yes.
So they were up. Yeah. So they won their game. Yeah. I think it finished 10 minutes before. And, they're watching it on the Jumbotron. And you see Rooney, you see Ferguson watching it. And then it cuts to the City. And then you see him dribbling on the side. And then just magic happens.
Yep.
But yes, that's what I meant. United, at that point, before the goal, were champions.
Yes.
But then...
They in their heads, they were champions because they knew City was not winning their match. And they knew there was very little time left, so they were basically already starting to celebrate, knowing that they had clinched the title from their local rival.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So going back to your question, yes, I do remember exactly where I was. Just for context for anyone who's listening, we record... our studio is in our childhood home. This is the home we grew up in. Frank and I now are the owners of this house, and we made it into our studio. So in this very house, I was sitting in the living room. I remember it was an early morning on Saturday, and all the games were going on at once. And I've only cried tears of joy 2 times in my life, and that moment was one of them. It just goes to show how passionate we are about soccer and why we love the teams we love. And these moments of magic can make you feel strong emotions. That was one of those moments for me was watching Manchester City win that league. And I mean, it's just that story of the underdog. They were, at the start of the season, they were not expected to do anything. And they went, and to go up against their bitter crosstown rivals, that rivalry made it that much more satisfactory
intense,
for Manchester City and their fans. And that was one of the moments that I remember very vividly, sitting on that couch. I was on my knees on the floor, and I was like, what just happened? And I was like crying a few tears of joy from that moment. So yeah, that was a very, very magical moment for me.
I think that's the one thing about soccer for me personally as well too. Sorry to cut in right here, but soccer just brings out those emotions, that intensity in you, that you feel that sense of passion. And it's, I think, one of the most unique feelings you can ever experience whenever you're going to any soccer game, even if it's just MLS. I know MLS isn't the most popular league right now in the world, but it's getting up there. And when we go to Sounders games, man, that atmosphere is otherworldly. But to continue on, I'm going to let Pedio on here talk about who he supports, because he's got a very different look on soccer.
I just before we handed off to PDO, the last team I support is FC Barcelona. Not to be the party pooper, but yes, I support FC Barcelona. They were the ones that really started my joy for soccer. I remember watching Ronaldinho, one of the greatest players to ever grace the pitch, and I remember I was like 5'6", and I was like, oh my God, that guy's insane. I want to be like that guy. And at the time, he was playing for Barcelona, and that's really where my love for Barcelona started. I'm a huge Messi fan, don't get me wrong, but people don't believe me when I say Ronaldinho was the one that started it for me. And I think for a lot of other people, too. He really made people,
He made it look so easy.
He put smiles on faces.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often now. And yeah, he's the one that started for me, and I was lucky enough to, watch Messi start his career at Barcelona. And I've been, watching his career ever since. So it's been 20 years of magic. So, yeah, those are the teams I support. Now I will hand it off to PDO to tell us about the teams that he supports.
Yeah. Well, before I get to it, Ronaldinho is one of those players that played with so much joy.
Yeah,
that
for sure.
It just was so contagious.
Yeah.
He played with that smile on his face every time he scored. His patented dance.
Yes, sir.
It just brought so much joy. I mean, if you want to sum up Ronaldinho, just look at that little bit of when he's destroying Madrid, and even Madrid fans who aren't supposed to be clapping at Barcelona fans get up and just appreciate greatness.
Yeah. Respect. It's just respect right there, and that's one of the cool things about soccer as well, is that everybody respects everybody, but these guys are warriors essentially, and for 90 minutes, everybody's there they want to win for their crest, and they want to win for their support, and I think that's one of the most beautiful things about soccer for me as well too.
I think you're overlooking it a little bit, because it's not always like that. Mm-hmm. It's not always the respect between rivals. If anything, it's quite the opposite. So I just referenced that moment because there is no bigger rivalry than Madrid and Barcelona, and the fact that Madrid fans, respected him at that point in his career, because they didn't do that for any other player.
Yeah.
There's very few players in history.
Messi is a better player, right?
Yeah.
Than Ronaldinho. They never did that for Messi. So it's the fact that, he's one of the few that you see that. The other moment that comes to mind is the Ronaldo, the goal that he made against Juventus.
Yep.
And, they just got up and you got to appreciate greatness.
Yeah.
But anyways, I guess piggybacking off of that, I'm a big CR7 guy, so United is my team. So it's a little bit awkward sitting next to Lau as he's praising City. Because I remember watching it, and I thought they had won the league that year.
Yeah.
And then, again, it cuts off to the game, and everyone's watching it, and then, Agüero just, the goal of his life, essentially, destroying United.
Yeah.
Title hopes and, propelling that amazing career that he had with City. I don't know. He's one of the few players that should have a statue outside that stadium. I don't know if he does.
He does.
But yeah, you can't bring up City without bringing him up.
Yeah, well, Aguero's one of the city legends for sure.
Arguably the most important player of their history.
Yeah, I think he.
One of the.
Well, he catapulted that. What is the word I'm thinking of?
The era?
Not the era, but the. I can't think of it.
That's all good. No worries.
It's when you win multiple leagues.
Oh, a dynasty.
Dynasty. There you go.
Yeah.
But no, anyways, yeah. So I'm a big United guy. Followed Ronaldo early on, and then I had always liked Madrid too, from even before then. When you had Zidane, you had Beckham. Yeah, you had Casillas. Like
nasty, man.
It was insane.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah, I don't know. And then obviously he hopped over, and then you
kickstarted the greatest era of football.
Yeah, him and Messi
ever experienced. We're getting to see a little bit of that now with the media's trying to bring that Mbappe versus Haaland type thing.
Oh, no way.
But no one is going to come close to that era of football.
I think those two players alone, I don't think anybody's going to come close to them. They're generational, essentially is the word for it. And, these guys only pop up very few or very seldomly. It's like a very small percentage of.
They're once-in-a-lifetime players, both of them. It's insane.
Like for Mbappe, I think that would start if he did more for PSG.
Yes.
They just haven't gotten over the hump. And obviously Haaland, sorry. It's very money gave him that trophy. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
Like had he won it with Dortmund or anywhere else, I think at least for me, it would have raised his
stock a little
bit more. Don't get me wrong, he's one hell of a player.
Yes.
And they got over the hump because of him.
Absolutely.
Because City for years, Aguero left and they couldn't find that striker. They had everything else except the striker. And obviously you want Haaland as your striker. So you put him over the hump. Don't get me wrong, but that you can't Mbappe, Haaland, Ronaldo, Messi, I mean, they're a ways away from even getting close.
Speaking to that City striker problem, I remember there was like a whole season and a half where City just lined up with like 7 midfielders and no forwards because they didn't have anybody. So, yeah.
That was crazy. I mean, they were still very dominant. They found a way to work around it, and that was very impressive. And, when you have a quality coach like Pep Guardiola, I mean, what else can you expect? You can only expect essentially greatness. And so he found a way to make the teams work, and, City are insane.
Yeah, it's you couldn't have said that a year ago, though, with Guardiola, because I think that was the one thing he needed to do outside of Barcelona to achieve that Champions League. Without, that Messi and all those guys. And I think I was happy for him that he won it, because then it's like he's one hell of a coach. He doesn't need to prove anyone wrong. Like the EPL is hard enough to win. And the fact that he won it
5 times in like 7 years.
Yep.
I mean, Henry said it best when he won it. I don't know if you guys saw the interview. He basically was telling people to F off. Like, why are you guys expecting greatness from arguably the best coach?
Yep.
And it was crazy. Thinking of Henry, going back to I'm also a Sounders fan. Yep. And I remember when Barcelona came here back in 2009, 2010, whatever it was, when they won the treble. And I remember Henry was here. I remember Zlatan was here. I remember Messi was here. Like, it was insane.
Yeah, that was the first season Messi, I think, took the 10.
Yeah, it was insane.
Because he had left that summer.
Yeah, you know what's funny, Fidio? When you mentioned that trip from Barcelona versus the Sounders, well, Leo and I had tickets to go. But Cherry Harvest came in, and
I was so devastated.
we couldn't end up going.
Yeah, no, it was insane. Like seeing those guys, and just for the simple fact, forget Messi, but Henry is like, he was so good. And then you see him in person. Yeah. And Zlatan wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing those guys. But yeah, no, they were good. But yeah, United and then Madrid, and you can't say Champions League without Madrid. So
yeah, for sure.
You can't see that trophy without that Madrid crest.
That's very true. Any other teams, Pedro? I think you're missing one big one.
Am I?
I think so. I mean, it's your gamer tag.
The Liga MX? Oh, okay.
We're bringing that league up.
We're bringing the Farmers League. No, obviously, I'm a diehard Chivas fan. parents are from Mexico, and I grew up a Chivas fan. I grew up hating the yellow. Can't even acknowledge the team.
For those listening, the club is Club America, and they are in Mexico.
Yeah, no, I can't think. Leo brings up the memories of him getting on his knees, crying. I remember when they won it in 2006, and then I remember when they won it in 2017. And, those trophies, the final whistle just resonate with you when,
that
when
feeling when you've finally done it, the relief,
the euphoria,
the euphoric sensation of your favorite team doing it all and winning that trophy.
Yeah.
There's no feeling quite like it.
Yeah, and it for me personally, it hits deeper because Chivas, you have to play 11 Mexicanos. Like, you can't buy, whatever striker you want. You can't buy whatever midfielder you want. You can't buy whatever defender you want.
Right.
And it sucks because it puts a handicap on if they want a player, the other team knows that, okay, they want him, so I have to double the price because where else are they going to go?
Yeah.
So they're always handicapped in that perspective, but it just makes it that much sweeter when they win it because, they're always going to be an excuse, but yeah, it's immemorable when, your team wins it all. And especially them, they were the laughing stock after like 2011, 2012. I remember it was rough. Year after year, just...
They're in the trenches.
It was worse. I mean, cage, spat, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's insane, though, because from 2006 to like 2010, they were the closest team to being the best here continentally. They would always go to the Libertadores,
For sure.
I mean, it's hard enough to play. It's hard enough to play those teams, but they were beating teams that they shouldn't have beaten.
Yeah.
And they were... South America was like, who the heck is this team from Mexico? They made that Libertadores final, I want to say 2010. And, they lost it, but, I mean, that's a team that shouldn't make it there in the first place.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of the game. I mean...
in between the lines.
Come through. It's like those underdog stories that you really pay attention to. Like the most recent one that comes that's on my mind right now is Ajax that made it to the Champions League semifinal.
Oh yeah,
when they played against Tottenham. I mean, I was rooting for them because it's like, why not? Why can't they go all the way? I remember they beat Real Madrid that season like 5-1 at the Bernabeu.
Yeah, that was insane.
It's like, whoa, this team just came out of nowhere and spanked the best team in the planet 5-1 at home. And it's like, why not? Why can't these guys go all the way? And it was just heartbreaking when Lucas Moura scored that dagger at the end of the game to seal Tottenham's place in the Champions League final. But, going back to Peter's points, there's some teams that, like, theoretically, on paper, they should not be there. And that just goes to show what soccer is and how some teams can, make that run.
It's that belief that single belief in the individual person to say we are going to win.
Yeah,
and that's all that some teams need. Just like that Ajax and just like that Tottenham team right there that ended up winning essentially. Because that Ajax team was tight because they had Frankie de Jong, De Ligt, Anthony was there at the time, I believe. No,
Donny van de Beek.
Van de Beek, yes.
Yeah. And then a couple other superstars, Dusan Tadic, Hakim Ziyech.
Yeah, that team got picked apart after that season.
Yeah, Hakim was there.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
That was an insane squad that they had.
Yeah, those wonder stories, Sometimes or a lot of times they don't go all the way, but they're still a good story. Just look at Leicester City.
Yeah.
Talk about a team that's a real fairy tale.
That's a real fairy tale. Yeah, 2015-16 season where Leicester did the impossible and lifted the Premier League trophy. Man, that was insane.
That was a beautiful, beautiful story. You got this team that's like it's on paper a relegation squad.
Yeah,
and they just went on this insane run. They were playing out of their minds for the whole season.
N'Golo?
Yeah, N'Golo Kante, Jimmy Vardy, Riyad Mahrez. Wes Morgan played every minute of every Premier League match.
I think that was like
Drink water.
Yeah, it was a savage.
Kasper Schmeichel, keeper. Yeah, it was a great squad. I mean, we remember them now as a great squad, but then they were like who are these guys? Like these guys. These guys aren't anything. They shouldn't be.
For context too, Leicester City that season when they got promoted to the Premier League, they were I think they were like 3 or 4 divisions down the divisions essentially. And so they worked essentially really hard and found their players that they needed them to be able to succeed.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. Yeah. Any other teams, Peter? Are you missing any?
I think we got them all.
We got them all.
We got them all, right?
Okay. All right, just to kind of, I'm gonna indulge myself a little bit here and just kind of share from me, just because when you're growing up and you have brothers or any siblings, sometimes there's little rivalries born, and for me, that's what ended up happening. Since I was watching Barca, and for me personally, I wasn't really too much involved in soccer. I did play, and I played as a goalkeeper, and I really enjoyed that, and I really love it. But soccer kind of came more like a thing I started doing more with Leo as the years went on, and I personally like a lot of teams, and I like quite following almost everybody essentially. But I still have my personal favorites that I keep a closer eye on. For me personally, I do enjoy following Real Madrid, Tottenham Hotspurs, Borussia Dortmund. Those are some of the three. And of course, the Seattle Sounders. Got to support locally too. And so that's some of the stuff that's been some of the teams I follow personally. And for me, some of the best moments that I've ever experienced has been more closely following the Seattle Sounders. Actually, not too much on the European side, but here locally, just because a few years ago they made it to the CONCACAF Champions League final, and following their trajectory, the steps that they needed to take, and it was just insane. When they were in the quarterfinal against, I believe it was Tigres. I think it was Tigres, yeah. And no, Pumas. It was Pumas.
Pumas was in the final.
Yeah, Pumas in the final. That's my bad. Pumas versus the Sounders, and man, the first game when they played in Pumas, I was yelling in the living room. Leo was panicking. He didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I remember I was in a different room, and I just hear like this death scream come out of nowhere. And I was like, whoa, what happened? And it turns out the Sounders had like scored or something. I can't remember.
No, it was
they missed a chance or something. I think they missed a chance.
They went down 2-0, and then they came back 2-2, and it was from 2 penalties, which I believe Nicola Beto converted those penalties, and man, I was so pumped. I was yelling. I scared Leo so bad. He didn't know what to do. But that was for me one of the most euphoric moments that I've ever experienced as well too. Because the next game, it was at home at the Seattle Sounders Stadium, and luckily enough, I had a friend who's a season ticket holder, and we were able to get tickets. And we were down. We were
basically pitch side. We were very close to the pitch, and
yeah,
that was an insane experience.
It was an insane experience just because the Sounders turned up and they ended up winning. I think it was 3-0 at full time, and I could not speak afterwards because I lost my voice from the celebrations that we had. It was just one of the most beautiful moments I ever experienced, and I'll never forget that.
That day was insane. I remember the stadium, I think, was a record sellout for a Sounders game.
Yep.
It was like 76,000 people or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
It was a packed stadium. Every time the Sounders scored, they put out like an article afterwards saying that there was an earthquake registered every time the Sounders scored a goal.
That's wild.
That's how insane that stadium was. That the energy in there was electric. Like you could feel it like on your fingertips. How locked in all these fans were. I'm getting chants and everything. Like it was amazing. It was an unforgettable experience. It was a joy that we were able to be there in person to witness that.
Yeah, I'm just getting goosebumps thinking about that night and just kind of reliving that moment in my head. And man, that was one of the coolest days of my life. Honestly, I do want to get over to Europe and find out what the atmospheres are like over there.
Yeah,
I personally want to go see a game at Newcastle because I've heard that's like one of the best stadium atmospheres that some players and the people have said that it's like one of the best atmospheres. That's for me. That's on my bucket list, and that's a little bit about us and who we support. We're going to take a little quick break real quick, and we'll get back into the next segment. This episode is brought to you by the Apex Pack Openings YouTube channel, where three friends have fun and rip open cards from all genres. From the latest Star Wars products to the hottest sports cards and to the latest and greatest Pokemon sets being released today. Go check the channel and enjoy all types of cards. And now, back to the episode. Welcome back. We are here talking about soccer. You just heard about who we support, and now we're going to talk about what we're looking for, what we're expecting for the season, what we want to see, who we think is going to win the titles, and we're going to get into that. I'm going to hand it over to Pidio and just kind of share about your teams that you support and what are you looking for towards the summer or the season. Actually, my bad.
Obviously, I guess we'll start big and work our way down. Obviously, Madrid, a little reshuffle. I think I was reading that Modric might come off the bench now, moving forward.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Big departure this summer. They lost their striker. They lost
Karim Benzema.
Yeah,
so it's a new look for that Madrid team.
Yeah, obviously you want them to win the Champions League. Obviously, the league is, within reach. But I hope to see them make it far in the Champions League. I think, me personally, I think Mbappe is just too much drama right now. You just got to let him go. If he comes next summer, he comes. I think he played out. You don't want to spend money that, you can save by just waiting. Right. I do see them, if it's not going well in the winter transfer, maybe panic spend. Mm-hmm. But that's...
Because their one signing was Jose Lu, who's
it's on loan.
Rotational striker. Yeah. He can get the job done, but he's not necessarily the guy that's going to be the difference maker for you.
Yeah. And he's on loan with an option to buy, I believe, for 1 million euros, I believe. And so that's,
so it's really a depth option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he hits off the mark or starts scoring goals left and right, I think they'll make that signing permanent. But, it's one of those things where he has to show that he belongs there and show that he can do it at that top level. Which team did he come from again? He came from La Liga. He came from one of the competitors. Español?
I think it was Español.
Yeah. Okay.
But don't quote me. I mean, I don't recall right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
He was in Spain prior to signing for Madrid.
We'll do a VAR check on that.
I don't know. And then obviously in the EPL, you want United to, win it.
Do okay.
I think.
What do you think of United this season?
They're just a poop show.
Yeah.
I think the coach he's a good coach, but I think he's doing it the wrong way. He's rubbing too many people the wrong way. Over there in the Netherlands, you might get away with it, but I mean, no offense to that team, but they're not United. Yeah. I think United, you got to run it differently.
It's a global brand.
Yeah,
it really is.
They're in terms of marketing and merchandising. I think they're the second biggest team in the world. I think, but I mean, they're a powerhouse, and you need to have powerhouse players, stars on that team, and you need to be winning titles.
So as
things look, I personally don't think they're gonna fare too well.
I don't think so either, personally.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think so. But, you want them to make it far. I mean, they could very well, make it far, but I don't know. He's just rubbing people the wrong way. I don't know. I think it stems from the beginning of the way he kind of basically kicked Ronaldo out. Yeah. You don't do that to a club legend. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he their top goal scorer that season as well?
Whether he was or not, you see Barcelona the way they treated Messi, right? You see these bigger clubs just treat the players that gave them so much. This isn't FIFA, right?
Yeah.
You don't just treat them like whatever. It sounds like Messi might go back eventually to get the proper departure he deserves. It's just very unfortunate how all that unraveled.
Yeah.
I'm not a business guy, so I'm not going to get into logistics of money, but I don't know. The way he handled Ronaldo, I don't know.
It's just a shame. I mean, you really have one of the greatest players in history to be dismissed like that. You gotta treat that person with respect. You gotta show them respect for what they've done in their career, and
And what he did prior to United beforehand.
Yeah.
He was a coach that just wanted to show up and be like, you know what, I have this
Like,
these
I'm the boss
big
now. Like, I don't
you
care.
know
who you are.
pants. Like, yeah, it's my show.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think it is. He's a good coach though, so I'm hoping he steers the ship. But I think the way that was all handled was very unfortunate.
It was a very ugly situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
all
happened,
over
and
now.
we're all what's done is done.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm curious to see where they go to. I don't think they have a good, talented squad, but I still think they're missing a few pieces to really be contenders for titles.
All right, guys. Well, I have to ask this question. Where do you see them finishing in the table? What position do you see them finishing with the current squad they have? And just thinking about all the other competitors, where do you see Man United finishing on the table?
I'll go for 5th place.
5th place, okay. Right outside of Champions League.
Yeah.
Into the Europa League.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Europa League. I think at best they're 4th, right around there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be a struggle. I think the top 2 will again be Arsenal and Manchester City. I think they've got really big squads to compete. They've got good squads to come back and compete again. One to keep an eye on is Newcastle United. I think for what they did last season, they're in Champions League football this year. I think they have what it takes to go back and land a top 4 spot again. I think that coach and what they're doing with that team is very exciting. I'm excited to see where they go. Obviously, time will tell, but I think they can make that push for top 4 again. I think Liverpool might struggle a bit, but I think they'll come back and possibly make top 4. Obviously, the other...
I see them in that bubble with United.
Yeah.
I think there's that range
Agreed.
of teams. I think the range of those teams is Chelsea, United, Liverpool,
Like are on the same boat.
and Tottenham. I think they're all going to be competing for that third and fourth spot at the top of the table.
Yeah, no, I'm not hopeful, but only time will tell. So
Yeah.
I think 4th.
Okay.
Just get into the Champions League. I see them. Yeah, 4th.
4th. All right. What about you, Lil? What are you looking forward to this coming season?
Yeah, I'm excited. I really truly enjoy watching football. At the end of the day, every weekend I wake up super early. I watch all the games. I've been doing that for years now with our dad, Frank and I's dad. Frank and I are brothers. For those of you who don't know,
Well, essentially, PDO is one of our brothers
He's our
too.
brother
He's one of
too.
our brothers too.
Yeah, we make it a point to watch games whenever we can.
Group hug.
And yeah, I've been
All right, no, that's enough.
enjoying. I've just been enjoying from the beautiful game for many years now, and I'm just excited to see good football being played. Obviously, I want my favorites to have success, but for Barcelona, I think it's going to be tough. I don't think they have a squad to challenge in the Champions League, and I don't think they have the squad to challenge in La Liga either. Personally, I don't. This is gonna sound crazy, but I don't think Xavi is the right guy for Barcelona. Really? He gets the job done, but he's not that guy that makes this is an amazing team to watch. Like if you watch their games, man, it's
a little rough.
It's a little rough at times.
Okay.
Man. Like I watched 90% of Barcelona's games last season. Most of the time it's 1-0, 0-0.
Oh man, it's not
1-0, 1-0. And then you get that occasional 2-0, 3-1, that kind of thing. So they have a great squad. Lewandowski's getting old. He has been really struggling to find form since coming back from the World Cup last December. He had a very poor second half of the season, and he didn't have a great preseason. And we're week 3 in La Liga, and
Which one?
It's not looking good. It's not looking good for Lewandowski. So that's really something to keep an eye on for Barcelona. I'm curious to see whether they have replacements in the squad, if they trial Ansu Fati or Ferran Torres as a number 9. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see where that team evolves to. They've made some interesting signings this summer, and I'm excited to see where they go. Over in England, I think City is a strong contender to repeat for the Champions League and the Premier League title. I'm curious to see now with Haaland having a full year under his belt in England.
And a preseason.
He's more settled. He's more familiar with the culture and that thing. So if this guy walks into this team, scores 60 goals in a year, what can he do now that he's been there for a full year? He's developed these relationships with his teammates. And it's like this is
going to be insane.
It's scary. Like, is this guy really this good? Obviously, he's had a very poor track record in big matches. He's rarely scored against the top six, and he's ghosted in these big matches like in the Champions League and all these finals. Obviously, they're coming up against better opposition, and these defenders are obviously much better than lower-end league table teams.
Yeah.
So I think that's something to keep an eye on. Like, is this guy really the real deal, or is he just, a tap-in merchant against these lower-end teams?
Don't forget, though, I think Arsenal needs to take advantage. Don't forget De Bruyne is out.
Yeah, he's out for a significant amount of time, at least at the time of recording.
De
Bruyne
makes that team, but his replacement, Phil Foden.
He's not the Kevin De Bruyne, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, no, nobody's ever going to be another Kevin De Bruyne.
Right? Like, that's the point, right? Like, that's such a big hit. Like, yes, you'll put Phil Foden there, but he ain't Kevin.
Yeah, he ain't Kevin, but I think...
will he make it work? Yes. Well, they're not going to tank completely, right? But I think we can't overlook Kevin and, everything he does. Like, he makes soccer look so easy. Like, good for him that he won the Champions League, right? Yeah. But, like, just injuries have hurt him time and time again. Like, he is such a phenomenal player to watch. Like, he makes soccer look easy. Like,
it's incredible. One of those few players that really, truly make it look easy.
Yeah.
This guy is putting passes that no one should have the right to be doing.
Yeah,
the only player that comes close to doing that is obviously Messi, and maybe a few other players out there. But like even those players, like they do it like once every like 20 matches. Like this guy's doing it week in, week out. Arguably, I think the greatest player in the Premier League at the moment, active players. I don't think very many other players come close to what he does.
No.
So I personally think he's probably the best in the league at this moment.
I think he's definitely one of those probably like top 10 players, maybe even top 5 players in the world for me personally. So, but I mean, I just really enjoy watching him play. Even though I'm not a City supporter,
you just got to appreciate what these players do.
You got to appreciate greatness. Yeah. But going back to I think Arsenal needs to jump on that and make sure that they get a big enough lead, because last year we thought they had a big enough lead. And then
I thought they were going to do it.
I think it was 11 points in January or something like that.
I thought they were going to do it. But
I think that team fell apart, man.
Yeah, it was those injuries and the just the crunch time. They didn't have the depth as City do. This year they've added key pieces where they needed to reinforce, and I'm thinking they're gonna be challenging. I think they're gonna finish either first or second this year. I am for me personally, I am pretty high on Arsenal, and I'm hoping they show up this season and they finish the job this year. It's another cool like a little master versus student storyline as well too. So that's another viewpoint from it. Mikel Arteta.
I we were saying the coach. Yeah.
Mikel Arteta was the understudy as Pep Guardiola, so he knows Pep ball. And
well, you said teacher, and I'm like,
well, last season they both adopted the box formation as many managers have been using now across Europe. Pep obviously Xavi kickstarted that in Qatar. We saw that with his Al Sadd team, and Pep saw that and adapted it, and he made it into his own in the Premier League, and that won him the Champions League.
I feel like whenever there's like a crazy formation or a crazy tactics that's going on, I feel like those great coaches or the ones that are always looking for ways to improve look at that and they try to figure out how they can implement it into their squad. And I feel like there's very few coaches that do that, in my opinion. Pep Guardiola, I think, is one of the ones that is always looking to improve. You see it on the pitch as well too when he's yelling at his players after a win, and it's kind of crazy. And
I think that just goes back to the mentality thing. Is these are mentality monsters that only want success.
Yeah,
and I think that's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, you have to have that mentality to want to win, and at the end of the day, you just got to go chase it and fight for it and give it your all.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not going to win.
He knows, like, okay, if we relax 1 week, Arsenal's right behind us. Mm-hmm. There's a team right behind us. We can't get complacent because that 1 week can cost us, the trophy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's something to respect.
For sure. Any other teams you want to talk about real quick, Lou?
I think those are my big two, Barcelona and Manchester City. I think those are the two big ones that I'm looking forward to this season. I'll be keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'll be excited to see what happens in the Champions League. That's always the big one every year. We'll see who wins.
We'll see who wins, indeed. It's going to be a good Premier League season.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who Madrid plays.
Yeah, it'll be a good La Liga season as well. We can hope for now. For me personally, I have been keeping a close eye on the Seattle Sounders this season, and I've been, slowly. It's kind of sad right now, just because we got knocked out of the Leagues Cup really early. The squad is relatively on the older side, and we've been on a losing streak, and it's a little heartbreaking. It's a little rough, but there's only one way to go though. It's only way to go is back upwards, and hopefully the change is going to be happening soon, in my opinion. I think it's either going to be. I was talking to Leo about this off mic the other day, and I was telling him it's either we let go of some of the players, or we let go of the coach and we get new ideas in, replacement coach, or we get new players. Simple as that. For me personally, I'm hoping we get new players. I like to play Football Manager, and whenever I take charge of the Sounders, I begrudgingly, or it pains me to do this, but I end up selling some of the key names and just try and bring in youth and try to revamp the squad, because I think we need it. This upcoming season, I believe there's going to be a major rebrand, and it's going to be a major rebrand of the crest, the whole structure of the club, essentially. So either
they're going to rebrand the crest.
Yeah, they're going to rebrand the crest, and just like some of the other clubs have done.
They're not going away from who they are. But it's going to be a new crest next season.
Yeah, we're going to get a new crest. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it, and I hope they keep making those beautiful away kits. We got the Jimi Hendrix and the Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee inspired kits, and I hope they keep making those. But that's kind of who I'm keeping an eye on.
It's not how you play; it's how you look.
Yeah. Style points, right?
Who cares about the result?
All you want good.
Style points, Vito. Style points.
Oh man!
But I'm hoping the Sounders turn it around, and I'm hoping to see fresh blood in the team, and for me, that's what I'm hoping for the Sounders. In the European side, I'm hoping Tottenham. I hope they can get their stuff together.
They've got a new coach.
New coach, new era. Harry Kane left to Bayern Munich, so we'll see what happens. Dortmund, I hope they finally win it. There's another similar story to Arsenal. I like seeing Borussia Dortmund just because they developed hidden gems, essentially, in my opinion. And they got youngsters coming left and right, and it's going to be insane, some of these players that we see for a long time. For Real Madrid, I'm hoping they win the league this year. I'm hoping they will. It'll be close. I think it'll be close. I'm a little more optimistic about Barca. I think Real Madrid's got a good squad, but I think that missing piece of Karim Benzema is going to bite them in the butt in the long run. And I think it's going to be a tough season for them if they don't find a formation or tactics that suit them, because that's going to be a big Benzema hole in that squad, because they played through him.
Good thing you bring that up. I don't know if you saw the recent interview with Carlo Ancelotti, the current Madrid coach, but he said he firmly believes that Jude Bellingham can fill the void of what Karim Benzema did for that team. And he's actually, he scored again today. They won their game, and he's been scoring, I think, in every match that he's played.
I think he's
looking good. He's looking really good. The squad's looking good. I personally think they're better set up, and they have more depth than what Barcelona has.
I saw a post today on Instagram of Jude Bellingham is only one of the 3 players that have scored in every single match so far. And the only other 2, I believe it was Snyder and Ronaldo.
And now Schneider, what a player. That was filthy, but sorry.
Yeah, you're good. No, you're good. Yeah, he was a really good player, but I didn't get to see too much of him for me personally. But yeah, those 3 players are the only ones so far that have been scoring on so far every single game. But, thank you guys for listening. We hope you guys enjoyed this. You're getting to know us quite a bit. And, share with us. Comment who you support.
Follow the socials.
Yeah, follow all our socials. We got quite a few. We're getting bigger and bigger every, not every episode, but every video or every little thing we want to try and do. We're growing, and it's looking good for the Apex.
Yeah,
the Apex
socials
group.
will be on the link in the bio. Make sure to connect with us there. Let us know. In this case, who are you guys looking forward to winning the Champions League? Who do you guys think will win the EPL? Who do you guys think is winning La Liga? Things like that. We love to talk to you guys, so
yeah,
let us know.
All right, guys. Well, thank you again, Pidio.
Sounds good. Thank you, Frank, for having me.
Didn't sound too sure right there, Pidio. What was going on there?
I was gonna sneeze, and then you caught me off guard.
Oh, excuse me. And once again, thank you, Lil, for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
And wherever you're at, take care of yourself, and don't forget to smile. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.